to settings while, oh, hey,
Broadcast
we're
is
live.
live.
What's up? How's it going?
Good morning. Well, okay. Hi, this is Barbara Ellison, and I am so excited for you to be here. My co-host is having tech difficulties. Who knew, that technology is always, not always our friend. So she's going to be coming on shortly, but she's in the background. She really is. But anyways, I'm so excited to be here today and to have our repeat guest, Julie Cotton. I am so excited for you to be here. So tell us about you and what you're doing and some exciting things that are happening in your life right now.
Oh, goodness. So right now I am on a cross-country road trip, a solo road trip. I'm in South Carolina right now on my way to Florida, and then I'll head over to Arizona. So I'm just kind of, enjoying a walkabout right now, following my highest guidance and just going with the flow. That's what's up with me.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Okay. For me right now, I have just been doing some exciting things. And
Yeah.
part of it, okay, yes, I love the, we talk with our hands. um, Anyways, I've done some exciting things. And part of it is from you. The last time that you were on our show, one of the things that you said is that every day you can choose what character you are going to put on.
That's right.
Light bulb moment. Light bulb. Absolutely light bulb moment for me. That I could absolutely choose, and since that moment, so often people have said the same thing slightly differently.
Yes.
That you can choose your mindset. All the mindset people all say a variation of the same thing. But that's why it is so important for everybody to get their message out there. Because I had heard that before so many times, more times than I care to admit to, but it never hit me as much as when you said you get to choose the character that you put on.
That's right.
And what character do you want to be today? And what's your character, what's the highest purpose for your character today? And that has just been huge for me.
Oh,
Absolutely
I love that.
huge for me. So I just give you kudos. And it was just such a funny, what God has perfect timing is that here you were being a repeat guest, and it has been such a realization for me. And what stemmed into that, what morphed into that a little bit was that we have control of what we do.
That's right.
In our character. Well, I want my character to be loving, kind, and informative on a daily basis about something that we can do, that I'm doing, or something that is going to help to impact their life. And so one of the things that it has absolutely morphed into is that, you know what? I am the deliverer of the invitation. It's not up to me whether somebody is going to be interested or not, or if they might know somebody who would be interested or not. I am only the deliverer of the invitation.
Yes.
So my only job is to put the invitation out there, whether it is to an event or whether it is to work with me, or no matter what it is. I'm the deliverer of the invitation.
I love that.
What a difference. I have sent invitation. We're having a big event today for our personality for bank. And so I have been putting out there, and I have sent invitations to people that I would have never thought to send invitations to. And it has just been amazing. And to just and some of the response back have been, oh, well, yeah, Barb, gee, I might know somebody. They weren't interested themselves, but they might know somebody. So that is, and I give you all the kudos for, who's the character that I want to be.
I love that, Barbara.
I'm just
Thank
so
you
happy.
so much. Yeah, and so that just like spins into even every moment. Like if you're, let's say you're gonna be like, if the play of our lives, or the screenplay of our lives, if we're in a movie or in an episodic or something, there's different vignettes, different scenes throughout the course of that play or that movie, right? Like if a movie is 2.5 hours long, we're not going to see necessarily the same character the whole time unless it's a one person show. And then obviously we will see the same actor, but they might be playing multiple characters or different times in their lives or things like that.
Different
But
roles.
like if you're in invitation mode, let's say that's a character that you have access to is the inviter, and you're going to play that part. Maybe
Right.
you always have that kind of lay as a foundation that's laid in the background, where you're always a space to invite people to participate or play or experience or learn, or you're always in invitation mode. It could become like the very soil that we plant the garden in, or it could just be one of the fruits that grows in the garden too, right? Like we have the choice as to how frequently we play that character, right? Like the frequency with which is it a foundational layer to who we be in and for the world, or in and for our play, or the movie of our lives, or is it just like does it just make a cameo appearance? You know, some people maybe are the bravado, or this big gregarious character. They're the like this centerpiece or something, you know, and it's but they don't want to have to always be on in that way, or they're the showman or the MC. I play an MC oftentimes for virtual events, but when I'm not an MC, I don't play that character necessarily while I'm driving in my car across the country. It's not appropriate, right?
Exactly.
So just having the ability to chameleon and to be all of the things when it delights and excites me to play that out. So I love that you're accessing your inviter.
And just to be, the thing is, I think, is that you made me aware, and you know, that's so much of where learning starts, is with the awareness.
Well, I love
aware that I have that choice.
And what you said earlier too, about that it wasn't the first time you'd heard it, right? So it's not, thank you for like offering some type of credit or, you know, acknowledgement to my languaging, but really it had more to do with the space that you are or were when you heard it as the listener, because you had done all of the prep work. And, you know, going back to this analogy of a garden, you had tilled the soil so that the seed could take root. But that I was talking about this the other day with some friends about movement. I'm a yoga teacher, and I'm a second degree black belt in kickboxing. I've done Pilates for years, and movement, ballet, things like that. And I've heard certain movement principles and utilized them for many, many years. But the way that my yoga teacher presented this concept of like having a neutral or stable core, for whatever reason, I was finally ready to hear it at a whole deeper level. And I was like, light bulb moment, totally, like just like mind blown, like totally like blew my mind. And I could go back and revisit the things that my ballet teacher had said, the things that my martial arts teachers had said. And it was like, they were saying the same thing that I wasn't able to hear and fully let it in. And it's not good, bad, right, or wrong. They say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. It's like, we get it when we get it. And the continued, persistent, continuous, consistent, persistent action, or my commitment is to get it, is to let the learning in, to live from the learning, to embody the learning. And that is a progressive, it's a process. It's like the success is the journey, not the destination. So now that your awareness is like turned on, keyed in, now you can play at everything you do in a whole new way. What you're doing isn't necessarily any different. You're still inviting people, but who you be as you invite is different, because it's aware, like you said. It's like, oh, I'm just inviting people. That's the character I'm playing right now.
That's the character I'm playing today. And so yesterday, I just had such fun doing it. And the thing is, I think too, is that when you have that freedom, you're like, I have heard so many times, to let go of the attachment to the outcome.
Yes.
So many people, and I have been one, I'm guilty of this, that is like, oh, but what if they don't, what if they say no, or what if they go down? That has nothing to do with me.
That's right.
That's their choices. Like, I pick and choose the things that I do.
Yeah.
Everyone has the choice to pick and choose what they do. They can either run with it, or they can ignore it, or they can think about it. That's not up to me.
Yeah.
And once that just absolutely was like, oh, Barbara, right. And the inviter, that's exactly who I have been for yesterday. And it has just made all the difference.
That's
Is
so
that
good.
I'm comfortable with it. I'm
Yeah.
having fun with it.
Yes.
I am having fun with it, rather than it being a chore that I dreaded.
Right.
It has become a fun thing that I'm doing.
Yes. Yeah. And even in that
Oh,
energy,
wow.
I would rather be, I'm going to be infinitely more tuned in and interested in someone who's having fun in the inviting than someone who's inviting out of obligation, or because it's a chore, or because it's something they were told they should do, right? Like the energy behind the invitation is completely different. And that non-attachment is felt. And then I can either say, oh yeah, that sounds really, that's like right what I was looking for. And for me, when it comes to inviting, I like to think of divine appointments. So we say one of the modalities that I practice is an energy healing modality. And we like to say that the divine handles registration. And yet it's like, well, people can't register.
Isn't that exactly the truth?
Yeah, they can't register though if they don't know about it, right? So I have to make it available. That's where the information, giving them, making the invitation. Like, if people don't, and I've oftentimes have heard people that were like, "Oh, you were doing a yoga class online? I didn't even know." Or, "You had a group meditation? I didn't even know. I would have come." And it's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'll make sure, like, mental note, I'll extend the invitation to you next time." Because for me, the divine handles registration. So in that moment, the people who show up in the room are the people who are meant to be in the room. And so I don't have to worry about who's in the room. I just show up and love them. Right. Like, so it's like, I just show up and be me in that space, whatever the space is. So, but yes, so the more we extend and invite and let people know about what ways they can play with us, the more people we can play with, the more people can come in the room.
Exactly. But until you're ready to hear it, you just, because I think so often we hear that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's
you don't know what you do
absolutely
know.
the truth.
You did know.
And you don't know what you do know.
Yeah.
I did know it, but it hadn't registered to the next, like, I think, as you said, the next level down.
Yeah. It's like a saturation. Like a saturation and a maturation, right? Like it's the maturing of the plant to pierce through the soil so that it can bear fruit. But it took however many times of watering it and giving it sunlight and, like, just trusting that at some point it will pierce through the land. And then, even then, when it's just a little baby piercing through, it's not quite ready to eat if it's a tree or something, you can't eat the fruit off of it yet. It still has to grow through and blossom out into its full fruition. But yeah, so it's just another layer of that. Anyway, yeah, that's so exciting. Thanks for sharing that.
I always think, oh, you're welcome. It's just so fun because so much, like, I live out in the country, so I am surrounded by fields.
Yes.
And so we see the land in all, like, right now, it's dormant. It's like ugly. It's dormant. There's nothing happening because we're in winter, and you see the birds coming and pecking at it to see if there's anything in there, the whole 9 yards. But isn't that a good description of our life sometimes? And that's how we feel, that we are dead, that things are picking at us, and that is this ever going to get rid of it? Are we ever going to get through this? How are we going to get through this? But then, in the spring, then they're churning up the soil. I mean, they have these huge machines. And until I moved out here, I did not understand farming at all. and you see these huge machines that take up the entire road, and then they are just churning up the soil.
Mm-hmm.
Churning up, churning up, churning up. Okay, so what's happening within you right now that's churning up within you? Something that you know you should be doing, that you're getting ready to do. It hasn't quite happened yet, but you can feel the expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's time to plant.
Yeah.
You plant. Oh, you plant all these seeds and you're excited and you're like, oh, yay. But then you have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yes.
think that's what happens so often to people. They get caught up in the waiting and they get impatient. And they try to, like take out that, unplant their seed to see if it's
They're like,
growing. Well,
why
then
aren't you growing?
you've now totally, why aren't you growing? You've now totally negated the fact that you planted it. So it has just been, so yeah, so that's my our plant, your garden in my cornfield.
Yes.
And then once it starts to grow, and the saying is that corn has to be knee high by the 4th of July.
Oh, I
And
love
that is
that.
absolutely the truth. And
Yeah.
yeah, and until I moved out here, I had never heard that. What? What about corn? Corn has to be knee high by the knee high by the 4th of July. It has to be knee high in order to give it enough time to harvest. And this year, praise the Lord, we had an early harvest. They were done. I mean, I think the first or second year that I was out here, they were still harvesting after Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know you could harvest after Christmas in the wintertime after snow, but you can. But this year, they had a absolutely amazing year. And in the midst of everything that's going on this year, that was awesome for the farmers.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that some friends of mine, we were talking about, is that like all the things that are going on right now, they are all neutral things. It's how we perceive them.
Yes.
So what do you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, so bringing it back to an acting analogy, since I'm the improv acting lady,
Right.
To me that would be synonymous with the script, right? The script is just black and white writing on a page. Like they're just words on a page. They have no inherent meaning in them until I bring the interpretation to them as the actor, and I choose what character lens to. Like I could read the same. So I'm at Panera Bread right now, and there's a sign on the table here. It says, "Let the good eating begin." Okay, so that's the script, that's the text. Let the good eating begin. And now those words have no inherent meaning. It's what I bring to them. So I could, and that is, give me a lens, give me a character to play, and I'll read these words differently. Right? If I am choosing to be a character who sees the good in everything and is like optimistic and like, ooh, look at the sun is shining and it's bright out and it's so great. Let the good eating begin. It's like, oh, yum. Ooh, let it go. And if I'm somebody who is cynical and sarcastic and off the cuff and like bitter about everything, oh yeah, let the good eating begin. Yum, right? Like and so same words, just completely different meaning. So the words themselves are neutral. There's no inherent meaning in them. We bring all the meaning. And depending on the filters we have in place, the programs we have running consciously or unconsciously, right? I can choose the character I play, but only if I'm aware that I am the chooser choosing. Otherwise, I'm a victim to whatever character I have been playing my whole life, and I'm not even aware that I'm playing. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but it's like, yeah,
that's exactly. It's so good to see an analogy that because everybody, like some people will not relate to a farming one. That is a perfect thing because because that's what you do, and that's why it's so important for all of us to get our messages out there and how we say it.
yeah.
So if somebody wanted to start the awareness process, like say they're listening to this right now, on the Diamond Factor exchange, where did that come from? Diamond Factor experience. and they've just randomly found the show.
Yep.
What would you tell them of how to get started?
Well, I love that your show now is Time to Shine, happiness show. Like, so the first part would be shining the light, like turning the light on. We can't see something that is covered up or that is in darkness or that we're hiding from ourselves, right? So the willingness to even shine our attention, our awareness onto what is, right? Like I'm traveling right now, and in order for when I get in my car, I'm going to put in my destination into a GPS, right? Like, but it has to know where I'm at in order to guide me where I'm going, right? So a lot of people might be afraid of taking stock of where they are, of really getting honest and doing an honest self-evaluation of like scanning, where am I right now? Let me take stock of my life right now. And because we have so much judgment, because we have so much that we think we should be doing, so many people we're trying to please, control we're trying to maintain, whatever, safety we're trying to hold on to, that we're afraid to even stop and look. So the courage, like the courage to look, the courage to shine the light and figure out, okay, where am I right now? Really, honestly, where am I? Let me look. And if we can do that without the lens or the character of the judge or the critic or whatever whatever you might call it, your own kind of like worst enemy, the part of us that has negative judgments is the best word that's coming to mind right now. But for me, like I'm a massage healer, energy healer, yogi, all of that kind of stuff. And when I have someone on my table, my job is to hold the space of unconditional positive regard for that person while they're in my healing space. My job is to, no matter what has happened to them in their lifetime, no matter what they've done, what they haven't done, whatever is up for them in that moment and is ready to release or let go and give them freedom so that they can experience their bodies without pain and suffering. My job is to hold unconditional positive regard. So in that space, I give people permission to have what they have. Just have what you have. This is the script that we're working with. This is where I'm at in physical space. This is our starting point. This is point A. That's imperative. That's where I would start, is practice becoming a neutral, and not even just neutral, but a space of unconditional positive regard for yourself. How can I fire my editor, fire my critic? Like, they're not the ones looking. They're not the ones doing the investigation because there's nothing to fix. I'm simply like an accountant taking stock. I'm like, okay, money in, money out, money in, money out. I'm accounting for where I am currently without judgment. Oh, I shouldn't have bought those socks. I have plenty of shoes. Like, oh, I shouldn't have made on that trip. Like, I'm not judging the ledger of accounting. I'm simply shining the light and looking, okay, what has transpired here? What is here currently in my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual space? Where am I? And that's where I would begin. And that will probably be, could be unearthing enough for most people. Just to look without judgment is probably going to be a sufficient enough practice for most of us. And even myself, I'll find myself wanting to be further along the journey than I am, but I'm like, nope, I'm here in South Carolina, like on a random side of the road, stop. And there's nothing wrong with me being where I am. This is where I am. This is where the I am meets Julie as a personality, as a character, right? And the fusion of those two. Yoga means union, the coming together of physical form and spiritual form, emotional form, the uniting, the aligning of all of the aspects of our personality, our personal character with our divinity. It's in I think it's Taoist, Hu means God and man means made manifest, right? So human is God made manifest. So we are like the hands and the feet of God in action in the earth, right? So it's, but when we're just walking around, not tuned in and connected to the divinity that we all are, we're doing kind of empty actions. It's like, it's not effective. It's like a toaster trying to toast without plugging in first. It just doesn't work. It's like, I don't know why this isn't toasting. I pushed the button that makes
why isn't this working?
I did the thing I'm supposed to be doing. Well, but if you didn't get connected to your power source first, doesn't matter what you do in the world, you're going to be ineffective at what you're doing if you're not connected. So getting connected is that willingness to, and so the unconditional positive regard of looking is, can I look through the eyes of, if it's God, right? Can I look through the eyes of God at where I be right now in my world? Where am I? Where are we finding this character at the top of the play? Because the play starts today. That's the beautiful thing too. We have it so much that our play starts when we were born. And then that's the problem we can run into, is that we keep rehearsing our past and presencing our past in our now moment. Well, we're not where we were.
Oh, right.
We're not where we were,
Right.
But we will
We're
be
not
where we were. We will be if that's what we wake up this morning being like, oh, what was I supposed to be doing? Who am I? Where have I been? And then I bring my past into my now moment. So I think I have to do the full journey of my life every day, right? Like I think I have to go, yeah, but I'm here now, and I'm a totally new me. I'm a totally new body. I'm a totally new combination of cells. I'm a totally new thought system. I'm a totally new being if I'm willing to meet myself anew each morning. And most of us are like, where did I leave off yesterday? What am I supposed to be doing today? So we're either focused on where we were or focused on where we're going, rather than just being right here, right now. And in the here and now is where all of our power is to decide what character do I choose to be right now. But if we're like, oh, who am I? Let me go to my past to see who I've been being. And then I'll just wear that character costume today. And then I'll keep being that. Or who do other people want me to be? Okay, let me see if I can wear that costume, even though I haven't earned it because I haven't tilled the land yet. I haven't become the tree because I'm still a seed, but I have to be willing, so it's like, anyway, I'm mixing my analogies now, but yeah. So to start, I would shine the light of awareness on my now space. Who do I be this moment? Who am I? And can I do that with complete and utter loving compassion?
Okay, the question that came to mind for me is, right at that moment, and this is a question for myself, do we have to like who we are right at this moment? Or do we just have to be aware of who we are right at this moment?
Yes, unconditional positive regard. When a client comes onto my table, I don't care if they're a mass murderer, an addict, it doesn't matter to me. Like, it's not about do I like them or not.
Right.
I love them. I might not choose to hang out with them every day. They might not be my best friend. In that moment, though, I hold complete unconditional positive regard for them. So it doesn't mean I condone their past actions.
Got it.
Doesn't mean I like their past actions. It means I love them for who they be, for their eternalness, for their divinity, for their humanness, for their willingness to play the part, right? Because they're not the character. They're who they really are is the actor. And they've just chosen a bunch of character traits to play out in their lifetime that brings them to my table, right? So they're not the character they've been playing. So whether I like that character or not doesn't matter. I love the actor. I love the being.
Right. Okay,
doesn't matter if I like the character, right? If I'm in the 100-acre woods with Winnie the Pooh, right? I might not like Eeyore, but I can still be in the 100-acre wood with Eeyore, right? I might choose to hang out with Tigger because I like his energy better, but I still can be with Eeyore without disliking him or judging him or making him wrong for his Eeyore-ness.
Got it.
In fact, without Eeyore, the 100-acre wood wouldn't be what the 100-acre wood is, right? Like, because of our differences is what has our world be so rich and beautiful. And, anyway, so it's kind of like the body analogy. We need all of the parts of the body in order to be a full human. So if I don't have a hand, I mean, that's not necessarily true. You got people that lose their limbs, but when we're born in and we're born with whatever we're born with, we have eyes, we have ears, whether they're functioning or not. Like, I get that may or may not be the case. There's still beauty and perfection in whatever is with all of our myriad of parts. But the heart does what the heart does, and the eyes do what the eyes do, and the nose does what the nose does, and the fingers do what the fingers do. And we're supposed to be different. We're supposed to have different character qualities, right? The fingernail is very distinct from my spleen. And my spleen is not trying to be a fingernail. My fingernail is not trying to be the spleen. It doesn't be like, I don't like the fingernail because it's not like a spleen. Like, it doesn't do that. It just bees what it bees.
Right.
And the wholeness of us comes from us being who we are. Like, just, that's what I'm here to do. That's the character I'm here playing in this play of humanity. Anyway, I'm totally mixing all of my analogies now. I hope that I didn't confuse you.
Yeah. But I think that's what happens to people is that, but what if I don't like who I am?
Great.
And that's where the judgment, and that's, okay, you're right. So that, So
the part, so then notice, shine the light on the part of you that doesn't like the other part of you. Right? So who we are is not the part we don't like. It's not the part that doesn't like what we don't like. Who we are is the one that can notice and shine the light and become aware of all of those different parts. That's who we really are, but we don't practice spending time as that consciousness, as that awareness. We spend time in the judgment or in the effect, in the end result, in the behavior, in the unconscious pattern. That's where we spend our time, is as the character, rather than remembering we're the actor that could choose to play the character differently if we had the consciousness and the awareness to choose differently. So yeah, I don't know if that's confusing or not, but
I know, yeah. But you know what? For some people, it probably might be a little bit confusing. And if it is, Julie, share with us how people can be unconfused by working with you. Tell us how to, tell our listeners how to connect with you, things that you're doing. I know you have a weekly thing that you do.
I did. We're on hiatus right now for the holidays. So we're coming back. There's a lot of fun stuff. I have an improv comedy card game that I created that's available on Amazon in the United States. I'm looking to get it into Canada. It hasn't gotten there yet, but it's called Improv Against Normality, because why be normal when we could be anything we want? So that's a way to play and take your imagination to the gym in your own time. I'm starting an improv mastery for speakers. So for public speakers, I'm using it. It's a 12-week program. I'm working with Quinn. Jeanette Anderson might be a part of that too. So people that are wanting to get to share, to get their information, to get whatever their message is out to the world, and maybe aren't confident in their ability to get up in front of people and trust that they'll say whatever needs to be said, right? So I'm offering a 12-week course that'll start in January. It's part of Quinn's program, so we're figuring that out. I'll meet with her later this week. I'm also working with a woman, Elan Bailey, for leveling up your leadership using improv. We have a leadership dojo. Yeah, so we have a leadership dojo that we're creating for corporations and leadership, people that are leading in corporations and organizations. And then, I'm also, I'm doing private sessions, virtual sessions, because I'm traveling right now for the winter. So I'm doing like private yoga sessions, movement sessions, energy healing sessions, improv when people want improv. There's a lot. So I would just say, reach out to me. They're on Facebook, Julie Cotton, or you can go to julie@nextlevelimprov.com and just send me an email and I'll chat with you.
Cool. Awesome. Julie, this has been absolutely amazing. We'll have to have you on again. I love your energy and just the playfulness of it. And I think that's one of the things for myself, I forget to play.
Yeah.
It's like that. This is, you have to enjoy your life. So I am so grateful that you came today. Yeah. So for all our listeners, Barb is going to put Julie's info in the show notes. And so get in touch with her. And I am just so grateful to Barbara Beckley for creating this space to have within the Diamond Factor experience, to have this Time Shine show. This has been such an amazing adventure for me to just be able to just, wow, let's do it.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Barbara. We know you're here with us in the background. And then Barbara, you guys have an event coming up. What's your event today? Is it still open? Can people still get into that? Or what does that look like for people as far as invitation goes?
Oh, yes. In fact, our company they're doing, to be able to become a coach. If you want to become a personality coach and help people how to learn how to get along with each other, I'll put a link in the show. I'll put a link for that in the show notes too. And you can win a Tesla. We are growing so fast, and it's going to be this afternoon at 3:00 Central. So it's just how to, like, if you have anything about wanting to be a coach, wow, what a great way to be a coach, is to teach people, how to make the transition between how you approach them and how they hear it. So different, because what we say is not necessarily what the other person hears. Yeah. So when we can learn to speak into their listening, like you spoke into mine, that's where it makes life so much easier. So
beautiful.
Anyways,
I love that. Thank
you oh, hey, you're very welcome. And Barbara Beckley, I don't know if you are still here. I hope you are, because you have to turn off the show. Anyways, don't you just love technical difficulties? But it'll tell us when it goes off. So it's like, anyway, so Julie, parting words.
We say in improv,
still live right at this moment.
Technical difficulties, aka we call them, there's no such thing as failure, only variations. So the technical difficulties is just a variation. It's like me taking the scenic route. Right? I'm still going to get to my destination. I just might go a roundabout kind of way of getting there.
Maybe, you might have missed a turn a little bit. So anyways, thanks again, Julie. And we are still live.